Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Monday that 30 settlements in Kherson region have been shelled by Russia 258 times in the past week alone. For weeks, Russia has been pounding energy facilities around Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities with missile strikes. The strikes have usually happened on Monday at the beginning of the work week, resulting in outages of power and water supplies.
This day, as well as every single day, the occupants again shelled Kherson and the communities of the region. In just 1 week, the enemy shelled 30 settlements of our Kherson region 258 times. What can we say about them? This is the true essence of those accidental comrades who took over Russia. After 20 years of rule, they have such devastation in large part of their own state, as if there was war there. And this is not a war. They have gone through it.
Meanwhile, the United Nations has said it continues to be concerned about the plight of civilians in Ukraine. The UN's humanitarian coordinator traveled to Kherson and Mykolaiv in the south of the country to see the humanitarian situation in these two cities, meet authorities, and monitor the response provided by aid organizations. Since the start of the war and until recently, Mykolaiv has been shelled almost daily, leaving some 250,000 people who remained in the city completely cut off from water supply and other essential services.
We continue to be concerned about the plight of civilians in Ukraine, especially as winter sets in. We are working to support people with services and supplies to make sure they can be protected and keep warm during these harsh months. Donors' financial support to Ukraine's humanitarian response have been extraordinary. We thank them for that, with $3.1 billion received of the $4.3 billion flash appeal for this year. In order to maintain the momentum of the response and continuity of operations to support people across Ukraine over these cold winter months, continued funding is obviously.
Amid acute power and water shortages and with winter fast intensifying, reports say the situation is only set to get worse. In response to massive power outages, Kyiv has rolled out hundreds of points of invincibility, a defiant name for places where residents facing outages can get warm, charge phones, enjoy snacks and hot drinks, and even be entertained, like through games, toys, or TV programs. Inside, kids crouched over a round of Roblox as young adults tapped away at computers and a few elderly women sat quietly whiling away the time. A firefighter who helped run the site pointed to a ledger showing more than 1,000 people had come to the center that is about the size of a large conference room since it was first set up 10 days ago for Bucha, where electricity is spotty to non-existent.
When electricity went out, I had to look for a place with a connection. This can be cafes that take energy from other places, or I look for a point, like now. I think we have already lived through more than what's left. That is how many months there are already. 8 months, 9. I think there are about 6 months left. 6 months is a lot, but already less than it has been.
Power company DTEC has said controlled outages continued in the Ukrainian capital as a necessary step to balance the hobbled power system and avoid other breakdowns, while ensuring electricity to hospitals and heat pumping stations. Only 42% of power was available to household customers in the city. The company said it has a target of providing power supply to households for 2 to 3 hours twice a day. Top ministers from 7 Baltic and Nordic nations visited Kyiv on Monday in the largest delegation to visit Ukraine since Russia launched its full-scale war to pledge electrical generators, warm clothes and food. The delegation included the foreign ministers of Estonia, Iceland, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Finland and Sweden. They said the goal was to help Ukrainians cope with their coldest months of need and keep their resolve high.
Just last week, we disbursed about 300 million euros in support, 200 million, so you can purchase gas for the winter. Unfortunately, we don't have any pipelines from Norway to Ukraine, so money will be needed, and also 100 million will be used through the World Bank for repairs of infrastructure and early recovery.
Ukraine will secure control of its entire territory within its internationally recognized borders. We stand with Ukraine until the Russian aggression ends and far beyond, because, I would like to make this very clear, we want to build our European future together.
And I think that one message that we all want to send to NATO allies, that Ukraine needs more weapons. Ukraine needs more air defense weapons, Ukraine needs more artillery, Ukraine needs more tanks, because as we discussed, that we are in the situation where we must stop Russia.
Ukraine has said aid would need to be two-pronged, first to carry out repairs and secondly protection measures.
Providing us with air defense is actually about saving and restoring our energy infrastructure. Otherwise, every time we will be restoring it, the Russians will be destroying it. So to avoid that to break this vicious circle, we need two elements. First, spare parts to restore the system, and air and missile defense to protect the system.